This is LWT taking a ringside seat with Lennox Lewis.
Hello, how you doing? And welcome to a very special edition of An Audience With. We're here tonight to pay tribute to a man who had one vision. He had one dream: to become the undisputed heavyweight champion of the world. And in the early hours of Sunday, the 14th of March, at Madison Square Gardens in New York, it was within his grasp. After 12 punishing rounds that saw him out-punch and out-box his opponent, he could almost taste it. But it was not to be. To everyone's amazement, the combined scores of the three judges at ringside resulted in a draw, and one of the most controversial decisions in sporting history. Well, let's start by meeting the man at the centre of it all. He's defied his critics, he's done his country proud, and he's someone I'm personally very proud to call a dear friend. Ladies and gentlemen, please give it up for People's Champion, WBC Heavyweight Champion of the World, Lennox Lewis! Just want to say I'm very proud to be able to be a part of this, and Len, it's a very special night for you. But how are you feeling yourself? You must be feeling... You're looking great.
Yeah, thanks. I feel good, you know, being back and just taking it easy for a while.
Yeah, just chilling?
Chilling.
You look like the kind of guy who can just chill as well, you know.
Oh, yeah, I know how to chill.
OK, listen, we've got an audience here full of celebrities, sports stars and soap stars, all dying to ask you questions, but sorry, Len, I'm going to have to remind you of that fight, and remind everybody, in fact, of that fight in New York. So we're going to go over and let's pick up Jim Rosenthal.
The fight everyone wanted, to produce one undisputed heavyweight champion of the world.
Lewis.
You know, he basically has to step up to the plate and deal with my size.
Holyfield stands between Lewis and boxing's greatest prize.
What matters, what a man knows, and what he can apply.
We are live at Madison Square Garden, unification heavyweight bout. We approach the third round, and all week Evander Holyfield has been saying we're in for a short night. I am going to end it in the third. All right, Evander, let's see what you can do. Big right hand from Lewis early on. Evander, it ain't gonna happen. Lennox Lewis, here's the bell for the end of the third. Another overhand right from Lewis, unloading on Evander Holyfield. Lewis is dominating the fifth round. Lennox is the governor out there, as he has been indeed, for my money, from the first bell. We're counting down to hit three. Surely, Lennox Lewis holds his right hand aloft. Holyfield gives him a hug. I think he realizes he has been beaten.
Judge at ringside, Eugenia Williams, scores about 115 to 113 in favor of Evander Holyfield.
One judge has given it to Holyfield by 2 rounds.
Stanley Christodoulou scores about 116 to 113 in favor of Lennox Lewis.
It's all down to the British judge.
At ringside, Larry O'Connell scores about 115 to 115, even a draw. The decision is even a draw.
We have seen robbery in Madison Square Garden.
What do you think, man? You know,
Boy, I was upset. I was definitely upset.
well, to be honest, Len, I can see where that might upset you, to be honest. You know?
I was gathering all my thoughts, and I was thinking to myself, okay, I got to make sure that I thank Evander Holyfield. He's been a great champion for such a long time. But I didn't really get a chance to even make that speech.
Okay, so what about the public reaction to you now, you know, since you've come back? What's it been like?
It's been great. I mean, I think the whole world knows who the champion of the world is that holds all belts.
Yeah, I heard that, baby, yeah!
It would have been nice to bring back all 3 belts because that's definitely something that I wanted to do from the beginning.
What was your preparation before the fight? What was
it was
the
good.
Dressing room, what was it like?
We kept on having this lady from HBO come into the change room making up noise, and I'm saying, doesn't she realize I have to fight? My brother Dennis was there to kind of mellow her out and chill her out.
Yeah, I can imagine it as well. Listen, because he's always got a smile on his face, Dennis. You can't. I say you can't. It's time to open up the debate to our celebrity audience to find out what they make of it all, and to help us with that, we've got Kate Sharman.
I've got hot from a hairdressing salon. It's Coronation Street's Tracy Shaw.
Hello. Now, please excuse me for this question, because it's a bit of a tricky one.
Okay.
What did you dream about the night before the fight?
I think I was just dreaming about the fight. I was running it over in my head, things that I need to do. It was a pretty comfortable sleep, you know. Before a fight, I don't really get too keyed up. I'm really relaxed.
I can't imagine that.
Yeah, I am, especially because it was Evander Holyfield. I was feeling really relaxed and I was very confident in what I wanted to go out there and do.
I would have thought that would be a time to be losing sleep. You know, like, oh God, he can fight. I know I'm going to beat him, but he can fight. But I think I will beat him. But he can fight, but, you know, so you kind of like, yeah, I can beat him, but I've got to do this. So maybe this. You know, that wasn't happening at all, and in the biggest fight of your whole life.
It's kind of weird because it's like I have to wait until the night time. So I wake up in the morning, have breakfast, kind of relax, watch TV, play a game of chess. Then I'll go back to bed. And then I have to sleep all day and, well, try and sleep all day, but I'm just kind of sitting there, and if I'm tired, I'll just sleep.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's go to another question from Kate.
It's naughty but nice Dale Winton.
Hi, Lennox. This may come as a surprise, but with me it was either running a supermarket or becoming a boxer myself, so... I would have been a great boxer, but there was one thing that put me off becoming a boxer. It would have been really embarrassing, and I wondered, do you ever get embarrassed when you have to get down to your smalls for the weigh-in?
Yeah. You know, when you're up there and you're standing there in your little underpants. Tell Dale wants to know.
No, I never get embarrassed. I just make sure that I'm wearing boxer shorts.
Did you actually, if anyone saw the fight, you'd actually seen that the protector that Lennox had on, you can't really call them smalls. I think you could actually fit a small family inside them. You know? Or somewhere up here, Len. You know, Evander Holyfield had no other choice but to hit you somewhere up here.
Actually, that particular cup was the first time I was using it, and it kept on coming up for some reason, so well, I don't know. You know.
A cup in that region might come up, but anyway, let me go to Kate, because she has another question from us.
I'm with Richard Littlejohn.
How you doing?
Not too bad.
Good. Let's just get back to the fight for a minute. Before the fight, Holyfield was saying to everybody who'd listen, I'm going to knock him out in the third. How did you feel when the bell went at the start of that round?
You know, I realized that it would play a mental problem on him when I survived that round. Because looking at the fight tape now, he just showed a great disdain. He was disappointed that he didn't handle me in that third round. I was saying, how could he expect to handle me? He's never been in the ring with me, for one thing, to be able to know that he can knock me out in the third round. And who is he knocked out in the early rounds anyway? Evander Holyfield is a kind of boxer that needs at least 15 punches to knock you out. He's not like a one-punch knockout artist. So I wasn't really concerned too tough. Everybody else was, and it kind of created a little drama that last week.
Okay. Kate, do you have...
I'm here, Ian, and I'm with Coronation Street's femme fatale, Denise Welch.
Hello, hi.
Hi.
I just want to ask you about round 5, which was quite a big round for you. And at one point you had Holyfield on the ropes, and he was kind of there for the taking, or so it looked like. Yeah. And some of us felt that you could have finished him off there, but you hesitated. Why did you do that?
Well, for me, I'm closer to the action than anybody out there. This particular situation that happened was, I hit him a good punch, and he kind of lost his balance and was coming back to the ropes. I've watched a lot of fight tape on Evander Holyfield, studying him. His last fight with Michael Moore. Michael Moore had him hurt so it seemed. And he went back against the ropes, and then Evander Holyfield knocked him out. In past other fights, I've watched tape on him, and he seems to do the same thing. Nobody's ever knocked out Evander Holyfield.
And why was that?
Have you seen his neck? The guy's got a humongous neck. Now I know when I was punching him, like he was just going like this. His whole body was moving. Most people, when I punch, like their head goes like this or goes backwards, but he was like, his whole body was moving.
It's really funny for people to say, could you have done more in that? Because, you know, it's like football, you know. You win a game 1-0, you don't play good, but you win the game. You know, you've won the game. You know, you don't have to...
But could you have done more?
You could have done more, but you've won the game.
Yeah.
Maybe I could have done more, but I didn't actually do more. But I've done enough to win the game. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
So when they come with that question about, you know, could you have done more? What more?
You know, I listen to people after the fight when they say, well, you should have knocked him out. Should I have to knock him out? I don't think I should outlay myself any more than that, because I have to look at coming up to the last rounds.
Well, that's right. Kate has another question. Who you got?
I'm with the man with the longest tongue in show business.
Thank you.
It's Ainsley Harriott.
Hello, Lennox. Hello, Ian. How are you doing?
Hi.
Good. Lovely to see you. I've got to ask you, Lennox, perhaps later on this year you'll go on, you'll become the undisputed heavyweight champion of the world. There's no doubt about that. And perhaps later on you'll go on and you'll defend the championship successfully for many years to come. But after that, when you retire, have you any thought about what you'll do for the rest of your life?
Yeah, I thought I would be a chef.
Yeah, but can you toss that wok, boy? That's what I want.
No, I can probably be into anything. Probably be involved in the boxing aspect of it a little bit. Helping young boxers probably take that transition from amateurs to professionals, because that's a hard transition that a lot of boxers don't realize. I'm an entrepreneur, so there you go.
Yeah. So what about like the music? I know you're very big into music. You even do your own kind of rap. Lennox can rap, you know.
Oh no, not publicly.
Yeah, you can. Like Dennis, he can rap, can't he? Then he's got some stuff. I think we can get him up. Do you think we should get him up to do some lyrics? Hey, AC, bring over a couple of mics, man. We got music. Hey, I'll be the kind of beatbox man, and you do the rap. Hang on.
See, I only do this to my friends and show them.
Hang on. What's it called? We're gonna rap something, but what kind of? What do you want me to put on the stereo? What do you want? Kind of like fun?
Yeah, reggae. There you go. Reggae.
I can't do reggae. Can I just? Can't really do reggae, but can I just do something and then you could do your stuff? Yeah.
Okay, I'll try.
Okay.
Yeah, you know what? Speed it up a bit. Yeah, slower. Okay, this lyrics is called Who Says Lennox Lewis Favors Ali? It's called Who Says Lennox Lewis Say We Favor Ali? Chew me float like a butterfly, we sting like a bee. We lick down any boy that step in front of me. We don't care if him red, white, black or coolie. With a left and right uppercut, we put him to a knee and let him cry out, God help me. If a Tyson say him fight me, if a Holyfield say him fight me. Murder, pick it up.
I said I was gonna beatbox for you, man, and you lost me. You kind of lost me. So, with the music stuff, did you used to play it loud when you was younger, and you and Dennis and your mum, let us turn it down?
Dennis used to be the one that plays music loud. Yeah.
I do think it's about time we met a lady in Lennox's life, don't you think? Mrs. Lewis is here. Yeah. Mrs. Lewis, You must be very proud, you know, sitting here with your son. And can I go and get? I'm going to go and get Miss Lewis. I've got... Let me move over and let Mrs. Lewis sit there. It must be, like I was saying, Mrs. Lewis, you know, so hard for you when you was younger. You had Dennis and then Lennox came along, and now sitting in a celebrity audience honouring, you know, your baby. You know, it must be a great feeling for you.
Nice feelings.
Very
nice.
Proud. You got to tell us how, because the struggle you had, you know, and how people were saying it's going to be so hard for you to bring up the two boys, and then, you know, this is your reward for all that.
Well, it's very hard, you know, like any single parents with a child. It's very, very hard, but you have to do what you have to do.
No, son.
Yeah, she definitely did what she had to do.
What do you mean, Len?
I was a bad boy.
What do you mean?
I used to get in trouble all the time, believe that.
Did he?
Yes.
What kind of things?
Leave school.
Lennox.
I have to leave work and go find him on the road, in the street.
I was playing. Playing with my friends.
Okay, Miss Lewis, you wouldn't mind if we open up, like the celebrity audience asked you a couple of questions for you, would you?
No.
Okay, here we go.
Oh, it's Tip's mum. It's Tip's mum. Okay. It's EastEnders Carol Harrison.
I've been to many a fight and sat ringside, and I have this sort of love-hate relationship with it, especially when I know the person in the ring. And I actually wonder whether I could let my little boy, my beautiful boy, in the ring and somebody hit him. So I just wanted to ask you how you felt when you're sitting ringside. And
very nervous. Very hard to sit and watch, you know.
And how did you feel at this specific fight? Were you there?
Yes, I was.
And how did you feel when the decision was made?
Very nervous. Very nervous.
My mum actually prays for me before I step into the ring all the
No,
time.
your mum prays for the both fighters.
Yeah,
both fighters,
true.
not you alone.
But she prays.
Each and every one of it.
She prays with me.
Yes, I pray with him one-on-one.
Yes. Every time she comes in before a fight, I can always sense if she's nervous or whatever before the fight because of how she's saying the prayer. But for this particular fight, she wasn't that nervous.
I was nervous this time. I know he was in the lion den, you know, and
which is my den.
Yeah, which is his den. And I know that God is watching over here. So I always trust God, and I always give him over to God before we go in the ring. So I leave him in God's hand. So I know that he will be okay.
Where's Kate with another question?
Yeah, I'm with Tottenham's Tim Sherwood.
Timmy.
How you doing, Ian? You okay?
Nice one, Tim. What on the other?
Lennox.
All right, Tim.
I've got a question for Violet, if it's okay if I call you Violet. Is that all right, Lennox?
You can.
Well, I have to call you Mrs. Lewis, Mrs. Lewis.
Okay.
Okay, Mrs. That's fine with me, no problem. Could you tell us why you decided to name Lennox Lennox?
I didn't name him Lennox, the doctor did. The doctor said he looked like a Lennox. I didn't know what that means. So, because he was looking around in the nursery when every baby's sleeping, he was up looking.
How much did he weigh when he was born?
10 pounds, 10 ounces.
10 pounds?
And who said I wasn't a big boy?
What about your middle name, Len? Because you've got a middle name. It's quite a good one, to be fair. Yes. I don't know if it would have been appropriate, though.
Yeah, it's different.
Well, what is it, Len?
Claudius.
An audience with Claudius Lewis.
Yeah.
Doesn't quite have that same ring, though, does it?
No, I didn't like it when I was younger.
No? You like it now?
I love it.
You got another question?
Hi, Mrs. Lewis.
Yes.
Lennox got Lennox Claudius. What happened with Dennis?
Dennis Stevens.
Dennis Stephen?
Oh, Dennis Stephen, that's more conventional. Did they used to fight when they were boys?
Yes.
And
Lennox.
did Lennox always win, or couldn't you tell with his big body?
Lennox always win, yeah.
Well, that's what I told her.
we've met a woman Lennox loves. I think it's now time we met a woman who Lennox might not be so keen on. American Eugenia Williams, who scored the fight in Evander Holyfield's favour. This is what she had to say after the fight.
The TV's view is a different view than I have. I can only score the ones that I actually see. What you see on TV, it looks like Lewis was the winner of that round.
At last, an admission from that lady. OK, we'll be hearing more from her right after the break. See you then. OK, welcome back. Now, before we go any further, I just want to sort out this scoring business, how 3 judges can give such different verdicts. You know, now, I know we've got Reg Guttridge in the audience. Just want, like, Reg, with the scoring of a bout, in fact, can we get Reg down? Can we get him down? Can we get Reg Guttridge, everybody? Woo! Bring him out. Come on now. In fact, can we get Bobby Davro? Bobby Davro. Bobby. Hey, Bobby Davro, everybody, come on. The thing is... All right. The thing about it is, let me see, Bob, you know, what I'm going to do here, stand here, Bob, because what I want to do is...
He's a big lad, isn't he, eh?
Yeah,
when he falls over, he's halfway
home. What I want to do is... Hang on a minute, you're going to get to it. You're going to get to the fight.
Yeah, I will,
Len, what I want you to do is, while me and Reg are over here trying to score, is throw a couple of jabs, don't get a flashback of the fight and completely knock him out. No, you're fighting Lennox, you're Evander Holyfield. Don't mess about, Bob.
I wish I'd worn me
What's it called? All I want, right, is Len, just throw a couple of punches and if you catch him, you know what I mean, it don't matter, we get something to do. No, we'll do it properly then, or else we'll get Lennox to get a flashback.
Why did he get Dale Winton up here? I'm going to give you a jolly good hiding.
What it is, Bob, what we want to do, we want to try and Lennox throw, and we want to ask
You
Reg.
wouldn't hit a man with glasses, would you? Reg, lend us your glasses.
We want Reg to actually score it for us. What is a scoring point and what is not a scoring point? So, Len, do your thing.
It's going to be fun, isn't it? Oh.
So, a jab.
Well, see that one's out. They're landing, right? You're saying they're landing.
Yeah, but do you get a different amount of points for them landing or?
Well, that didn't count because it was an open glove.
That was an open glove?
Yeah, that doesn't count. And that doesn't count because it was low.
It's a low blow.
I was just slipping into Julian then for a moment.
You get a warning with that one.
I'm quite enjoying this, Reggie.
So you can, like I say, like Lennox will. How will we know how many of Lennox's punches can be scored and not be scored with blazes and?
To be serious, Ian, actually, it's a very subjective thing, judging boxing. And first of all, these stats that you see on the screen about he threw this and he threw that, the judges don't see those on the monitor.
What about fighting inside? Do some, Lennox, fighting inside. Let's see some fighting inside. How would you score fighting inside? Because you
very
can't
good.
Really
in America particularly, all those punches. And again, you don't always see them in the television view, you see. That's the problem. I think that should be stopped for taking too much punishment, really.
We're going to have to...
I was winning then, I was winning.
He's doing all right. We're going to have to... Listen, I want to thank Bob. Bob, thank you very much.
That's a pleasure.
Thank you very much, Bob.
How did I go? Did I win?
Let me try to clear it up.
Well, you know one thing. The judges have the best seat in the house.
That's what I'm saying. It's not an obscure view like a football match. You know, you've got a massive pillar in front and you're like this.
Sounds like an excuse to me.
Well, to me as well.
How I judge a fight is... I'm going to show you, stand up and show you.
Am I okay here?
Evander Holyfield is here. If I'm going pow, pow, Evander Holyfield's making a step forward. I'm going pow, pow, step forward, but he ain't landing anything. I would say I won that round. But there's other judges that give it to Evander Holyfield because he's walking forward and they're saying he's being aggressive.
So that means, really, I can fight you for all those millions, yeah? And just keep coming forward like this. Do you think that's what happened with those times with Mike Tyson when everybody fight? I say, I don't care, man. I'm just going to be the aggressor. I'm going to get knocked out, take my couple of million, and then just retire.
No,
because they're just being the aggressor. Mike just cooked.
Well, he doesn't leave it to the judges. He never used to leave it to the judges. And he still doesn't.
But it's just... That's pretty cool, man. Well, you've already heard it wasn't just us Brits waving the flag and banging the drum for Britain. Jim Rosenthal has some of the biggest names in American boxing in history, live via satellite from New York. Jim, can you hear us, Jim?
I'll tell you what, you could walk down any street in New York with these two guys and feel very safe indeed. Ken Norton, the man who broke Muhammad Ali's jaw, beat him as well and went the full distance with Ali on 3 separate occasions. And Larry Holmes, quite simply the best heavyweight of the late 70s right through to the mid-80s, and Larry still keen to get it on with anybody at the age of 49. Also with us here today, casually dressed as always, Jimmy Lennon Jr., the man whose announcement stirred up all that controversy at the Garden. You're a fight fan. How did you score the fight?
When I announce the fights, I can't wait to finish, to sit down and watch the fights, and this was one I was looking forward to very much. Sitting in the front row, I had a pretty good view. I thought it was perhaps a little closer than some people. I tended to agree with Stanley Christodoulou, thought it was a 3 or 4 point fight. I haven't spoken to anyone who thought that Evander Holyfield won the fight. Lennox, this is for you. I was standing near you in the ring after the decision. I saw the disbelief and disgust in your face. Can you trust in your rematch with Holyfield, can you trust judges to make a proper decision, or do you intend to take that decision-making process out of their hands?
Definitely take that decision-making process out of their hands and put it in both of my hands.
Okay, let's get Ken Norton's view on it. Kenny, what do you think about the verdict?
I thought that it was pretty obvious during the fight that Evander was not fighting his fight. Lennox was controlling the fight. He had the longer reach. It was his fight from beginning to end.
Okay, that's 2 out of 2 so far. Larry, how about you?
Well, the first 2 rounds, of course, I gave it to Lewis. In the 3rd round, I gave it to Holyfield, and I scored the fight. And I thought it could have been 3 rounds to Holyfield, maybe 1 even. I gave the fight to Lennox, but when I heard the decision, I said to the people that it's going to be a draw because that's boxing. Boxing likes controversy, and they got it in New York for a change. I mean, my best advice is to Lennox is to just keep doing what he's doing. Don't worry about it. Don't cry over spilled milk. The people know that he's the champ, and take a rematch and make a few more dollars. This time, put the icing on the cake by knocking Evander Holyfield out.
You can talk to Lennox, just look down the barrel there. I know he's a pal of yours, I know you know him pretty well.
And what I'd like to say to Lewis, since he rapped a poem, a song, I'd like to do another rap back for him.
Well, do your rap to the camera, go on.
Listen, folks, now here's the deal. Lennox is a champion, that's for real. Everybody know what I'm talking about. It's the only thing worse than being knocked out. Promoters getting the money, fighters get the pain, but that's how it goes in the boxing game.
That's pretty good. So you're saying it's all about boxing politics?
Next time when I face Evander Holyfield, he'll be 6 months older, still won't know what to do and how to get in because I'll be much superior and show it.
Yeah. Mr. J. I know I feel that with the length of your jab, with the way you control it, and the way that Holyfield cannot reach you, there's no way he can beat you.
But if you go out there trying to knock him out, you might get knocked out yourself because that's when you make mistakes. Just go out there and do what you know how to do, and that's the win, and you'll come out victoriously.
Thank you, Larry. He's going to offset Holyfield because Holyfield cannot reach him. So therefore,
that's why you got to box him.
That's what I said, Ralph.
Hey, you use that long line.
Jim, hello.
That's what I did with Jim. These two before you leave us. Ian, we're still here.
Have a fight, are they, Jim?
Yeah, just a moment, I think. Just a moment. They're looking for a promoter, though. Just before you leave us, we've got one question. I know Jimmy Lennon Jr. has got a question that he wants to put to Lennox.
While your name was not read as the victor in this fight, I see you as the biggest winner in this fight of all because you're going to get a rematch with Holyfield. You're going to get a huge payday. You have the confidence of knowing how to handle him in the ring, and you've captured the hearts of fans around the world and doubters who weren't sure what you could do. Can you agree that perhaps a draw helped you more than a decision win in this first fight?
Yes, a draw definitely helped me, and you know, made everybody notice me in the world. So, you know, I definitely didn't lose in that aspect.
Well, Jim, thanks to you and the guys in New York.
Perfect.
See you when you get back, Jim.
Okay, take care.
We're gonna go straight over to Kate.
Well, I think she's left her wellies at home. It's ground forces Charlie Dimmock.
All right, Lennox. Are you going to feel under pressure when you go for the rematch to go out and try and deck Holyfield straight away? And will it change your fight plan, or are you just going to carry on as normal?
You know, I've always said that we create our own pressure. And I know that I would want to get in there and definitely go in there and knock him out just to put a stamp on the whole issue. But thinking about it, I'm not that kind of person. I'll probably go through and try and box my way into a knockout and hopefully one to come. But I'm pretty sure that one to come next fight.
That would be cool, though, if you could knock him out. What's it like knocking someone out cold?
I think you feel like you've robbed that person of their energy, and you feel like more on top of. You feel a lot stronger than they do. That's the only way I can describe it.
Kate, you got another question?
Yes, I have, with Olympian Colin Jackson.
Hey, Colin.
Hey, hi guys, how are you? Lennox, in 1988, I saw you actually winning your gold medal at the Seoul Olympic Games. How does that compare to winning the WBC title?
I think it's different, but almost the same in one sense, because you go in there and people, you know, don't think you're going to make it, or some people think you're going to make it. Then all of a sudden, once you've made it and achieved that goal, everybody changes around you. You know, people start coming up to you for autographs and a picture. And for me, when that happens, I'm just like watching and seeing what's happening, how everything unfolds and changes around me. Good question.
Katie?
I'm with the gorgeous Joe Guest.
Sorry, I'm going to lower the tone a bit, but why is it wrong for you to have sex before a fight? Sorry, Mrs. Lewis.
It depends. It depends on the person. You know, some people it gives great strength to. Some people it robs them of energy. So it depends on what kind of person you are.
Are you fighting tomorrow?
No.
Kate, give us another question.
The lovely Samantha Janus now.
Oh yeah, first of all, can I just congratulate you on the fight?
Thank you.
What happened on your way into the ring? All of that hassle that you got on your way, and Evander got a clear passageway through to the ring. What was going on? Did that kind of break your concentration?
Not really. It kind of added to it.
I wondered if that might happen, but I just thought for a second, do you think it happened on purpose? Do you think...
They actually stopped the British flag from coming in. We have a young kid from Wales that always comes to my fights and brings in the British flag. And just when we were coming out, they were saying, well, no flags can go into the ring. We said, no, we're going into the ring with the flag. You know, I face all kinds of problems when I go to America and fight. You know, like you said, having that clear aisleway to be able to get to the ring without no bothersome. But in this case, it wasn't clear, and it was basically their fault.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Okay. Kate?
I'm over here with the hairy Gareth Hale.
Oh, hello. Hi, Lennox.
Hi.
Great victory.
Thank you.
We do have certain things in common. We're both natural athletes. We're both natural heavyweights. But I wasn't tempted to the world of champion boxing because the money didn't seem enough for me. Seriously, what is it like getting £10 million for a day's work?
Nice.
Kate, you got another question
yes,
for us?
I have. I'm with wonderful Barbara Windsor next to her.
Hello, Lennox Lewis. Right, Susie. Well, how did it feel standing there with the national anthem playing and the whole world tuning into you?
When it was actually playing, I was in our changing room, and I was I was actually staying warm because those are pretty critical areas when you're starting out to go into the ring, making sure that you have a proper warm-up and that you don't get cold on the way to the ring. So I was like, you know, in my own zone at that time.
Yeah, being cool.
I heard the singing. I heard the British fans.
Yeah? No, you never, Len. Well, Lennox wasn't alone in thinking it was a conclusive victory. In fact, 4 separate investigations have been launched into the fight and its outcome. Here to bring us bang up to date with developments stateside is Jim.
Thanks very much indeed, Ian. Welcome to New York. Barnum and Bailey have taken over Madison Square Garden, so the circus has arrived officially in town. You could be forgiven for thinking they sent in an advance party of clowns when those big cats, Lennox Lewis and Evander Holyfield, tangled in the ring.
Something is seriously wrong with the way this fight was handled. I don't know what it is, and I'm embarrassed that it occurred in New York City.
4 separate investigations are in progress. The scoring of Judge Williams is a central issue. She stands by that verdict, claiming her view was obscured by photographers. But the focus now is on Ms. Williams and big-time boxing.
The first thing that we're trying to elucidate is whether there has been out-and-out corruption in the reaching of the decision by the judges. And the district attorney has the power to subpoena across state lines so that, for example, he could obtain telephone records and bank records with regard to Ms. Williams. By looking at her telephone calls and her bank accounts, it's possible to ascertain perhaps whether there was an inappropriate influence. I have no view on that, and I think we have to be particularly meticulous in not violating her civil rights nor jumping to conclusions in that regard.
I have not received any amounts of cash anywhere. I do not have any secret accounts. And unfortunately, whoever reported that had no knowledge of what they were talking about. They just needed something to sell the papers.
If the Mirror or any other publication has evidence as to that, I not only invite them, but I demand that they show us the evidence of that. Otherwise, their remarks are purely libelous.
Scoring boxing is a subjective business, but on this occasion, on both sides of the pond, the vast majority of the public and the experts reached the same conclusion.
I started scoring it early. Then I stopped because I knew Lennox couldn't lose because he just was too much, too big, too strong, dictated everything.
I scored the fight 9 rounds for Lennox and 3 rounds for Holyfield. And if I had to change my card, I would make it 10-2.
Definitely Rob.
Non-scoring referee Arthur McCanty was powerless to prevent the theft of a dream. He sympathised with Lewis's acute disappointment at the end.
I felt Lennox knew that he won the fight, that he felt he did enough to win the fight. All of my friends, they're great fight fans. How could you be involved? I mean, there must be something for you. You know, a decision like that, it's a crime, and it puts another black eye in boxing. Here they're trying to get it back where it used to be years ago. And for something like this to happen, it's a shame.
Will order be restored next time round? Can Lennox Lewis get his just desserts? One of boxing's wisest old owls has no doubts. When they do it all again, Lennox will have his day.
Total destruction.
Boxing is about opinions, and as we've seen, everybody has got one. One thing is certain, the rematch must surely be one of the most anticipated encounters in boxing history. But will Lennox get justice second time around? One man who may have all the answers is, of course, Don King. Here he is talking to the grand jury after the fight.
I have nothing to do with the outcome of an event. I have nothing to do with the selection of any officials or any judges.
He'll be live via satellite from New York, ready to answer your questions after the break. Don't go away. Well, he's the most controversial figure in sport. When his office in New York was firebombed, the fire chief allegedly said they'd narrowed it down to 1 million suspects. Here with Jim Rosenthal, the irrepressible Don King. Hey, Mr. King!
Okay. Welcome back to New York. Thank you very much indeed, Ian. Muhammad Ali has called this the biggest fix in boxing history. Did you fix the fight?
Absolutely not. You know, I have nothing to do with the outcome or the selection of judges in a fight. My job as a promoter is to put the fighters together and to sell tickets, market the event,
and then let it go from there.
Don, were you in any way embarrassed? Because I know a lot of people around New York, and you don't find many embarrassed Americans, do you, are embarrassed about what's happened to Lennox over here?
Well, you have a very unpopular decision, but not a corrupt decision. And this is the distinction between what is happening. But I have to agree with Lennox and everyone else that has said, and I watched the program, is that this is the best thing that could have happened as far as lifting him up from mediocrity to excellence. You know, Shakespeare says, sweet are the uses of adversity, which ugly and venomous like the toad yet wears a precious jewel in his head. I think Lennox is found the jewel in adversity. This has done more for him than any decision other than a knockout going into this fight. So you can take it one way, you know, or take it another. All I can say is that I have a great deal of respect. I was never more impressed with his boxing skills and talents than I was that night on March 13th.
Do you think he won the fight?
I would not second guess the good.
No, it's an opinion. Do you think he won it?
My opinion is meaning. All I can do is accept what the judges have said, but I can say this. Lennox Lewis done himself very proud. He handled himself very dignified, and he did his job, and he has an opportunity to do it again. So that's what really counts, and he has a great mother.
What chance of the rematch happening in Britain?
There's always an opportunity for it to happen in the great UK, because the UK is a beautiful place, and got beautiful people, and I love the people of the UK. You know what I mean? I know when all of this quieting down and the chips fall where they're made, it would be just what anyone else would do, take an objective, dispassionate step back and find out that you had a bad decision. So, I mean, you're going to have this subjective because you're dealing with human beings.
I might have missed it, Don. I didn't get the answer. What chance of the rematch?
Yes, who we got to ask Mr.
I'm
King
with
question?
Coronation Street star John Savadant.
I don't know what it's like over in America, but over here, you certainly come in for a lot of personal criticism. Why do you think that is?
Well, you know what it is? It's very, very difficult for me, you know, not one of the run-of-the-mill, not from Oxford or Eton, you know what I mean, not from Cambridge, not being able to go to Harvard, Yale, or Princeton, to be able to you know, to achieve and obtain. If your mind can conceive it, your body can achieve it. So I find myself being a controversial person because they can't figure out how I continue to succeed in spite of the insurmountable odds and difficulties I have to face. But I face them with smile, and I continue to go as Churchill would do. He said, we will fight them on the beaches, we will fight them in the trenches, we will fight them in the air battles, but we shall never, never surrender. Victory is ours.
Mr. King, as you can hear, you're charming everybody. But the thing is, why then, with this massive, beautiful smile you're having, these lyrics, you know, from Shakespeare and the Bible, you're quoting all the time, why do people give you this hassle?
No one knows about me. They don't know about me or my family or my hurts or my joys. So they go out by what they read and what they consume. It isn't any other way. That's why I never feel bad about people criticizing me, because it's normal. You know what I mean? This is not abnormal. This is an agenda. And the agenda is to criticize one who is a lumpen proletariat. You know what I mean? That comes up and gets into the elitists. But I'm like Rudyard Kipling. I can walk with kings. The people are my motivation. The people. God bless the people. We, the people.
Okay, yeah, we got another question for you. Kate, who we got?
Yeah, I'm with Gary Mason, Ian, over here.
Gary Mason.
Mr. King, Mr. Mason speaking here.
Hi, Gary. How are you?
How you doing? All right. If there was a rematch, who would you put your money on?
If it was a rematch, I would like for the Pope to pick the judges. You know? And so maybe with that sanctification, it would be no problem, because I never get involved with them one way or the other. I think that what you have and what we have all found is a jewel in Lennox Lewis. It is something that I think even the British public marvels in, because they was not in love with Lennox Lewis. They felt that it was a lot to be desired. I think that this guy rose above the crowd, and this is what happens. Adversity brings these things out. And so in a way, you know, as bad as this may seem, I think it's one of the best things that could have ever happened to Lennox Lewis, because now he will receive his just dues if he can continue with his dedication, commitment, and his tenacity and performance. You know, you can't cook with cold grease. You got to turn the stove on.
Mr. King, we would like the title to be held in England somewhere. Could you help us with that?
I'm looking forward to working with the team and doing the best I can for the benefit of all the people of the UK and along with the people of the world at large. So I'm very happy, you know what I mean? Long live the Queen.
Mr. King, I just want to ask you, do you think that Evander Holyfield has had his day?
If you have the faith of a grain of a mustard seed, nothing will be impossible unto you. You can tell yonder mountain to be removed, and hence, in the twinkling of an eye, the mountain will be removed.
Yeah!
So yes, he has an opportunity to come back and win dramatically. But it's up to Lennox to stop that. He's got to stand at the threshold of greatness and say, Evander, you can't come in. There's no more room at the end. You know what I mean?
We've got another question from the audience for you.
Yeah, John, I've got one for this. Barry McGuigan here, John. Why are you so introverted?
The only thing that really, in my career, that I missed was the fighting Irishman, Barry McGuigan. I would have loved to have had the opportunity to promote you. The leprechauns would be dancing from glen to glen. We would be singing old Danny Boy, and Tula Lura, an Irish lullaby. If I had had opportunity to promote you, it would have been something just SKD, as we say in the vernacular of the ghetto, something kind of different, because you were a great fighter, a great competitor, very tenacious, very courageous, and I want to say to you and all the people of Britain, Barry McGuigan, champion's champion, great fighter, and I love you.
Jim, only in America is your great phrase. Next time, if it is here in America, will Lennox get justice?
Lennox will get justice because Lennox is a determined, dedicated, tenacious young man, great skills, great talent, very articulate, and he will be able to do what's necessary to do to make certain that justice is done. And I think that the same thing would apply in anything that you do, is how much you really want something and how much you will go out to go and get it. And I think this is so marvelous, you know what I mean, that we will have an opportunity to address the Great Britain public on a celebrating situation like this here, where you got a decision that was so controversial and so unpopular that it catapulted Lewis into prominence. God bless you, Lennox Lewis, and God bless you back. Love you.
Mr. King, thank you very much, and God bless you, eh?
God bless you, and God bless England, and God bless the King. Thank you for having me. I wouldn't have missed it for the world. I had to do this for Violet and Lennox and Dennis.
Okay, so what can we expect from Lennox Lewis in the rematch?
In the rematch, you can expect Lennox Lewis to definitely come out looking to come home with all 3 belts and looking to win the undisputed heavyweight crown of the world.
Yeah, man. I think before we go, Lennox is just going to give everybody a little message from his heart.
Yeah, I'd like to thank everybody for showing up. This is a great moment for me, and thanks for showing up, and I really appreciate it. And definitely next time, I'm going to definitely do the job and come back with all 3 belts.